Hey minions, welcome to Crank It Up. I'm Jim Price, and on this episode of Action Awareness, I want to talk about Honorable Combat of the Samurai. Don't let this card fool you. There is nothing honorable about this combat. When I first saw this card, I had to read it several times to make sure I understood what it was doing, because what I thought it should do and what it does are two very different things. Here's what the card says. Choose a base where another player has more power than you. One of your minions there duels one of that player's minions there. The controller of the winning minion gains 1 VP. Here's what I first thought the card said. Choose a base where one of your minions has less power than another minion. That minion duels that other minion. Note that, like any duel, destruction or movement will end the duel without resolution. The two minions have to be on the same base at the time the duel finishes. This is one of the rare duels that does not destroy the losing minion, thus lowering the breakpoint on the base. It's my strong opinion that, whenever possible, honorable combat is a way to overtake your opponent on a base and win it in the end. All the usual methods for winning a duel still apply here, such as discarding deputies for +2 power. I recommend using Bushi as your dueling minion in order to trigger his bonus VP as well. To win a base and effectively get 2 more VP in a single turn is extremely productive and can make for a great game finisher, as you can score up to 6 or 7 points on the right base, maybe even 8. The fact that you start out with less power on that base increases the stakes considerably and changes how you might approach the duel. If you don't score the base on that turn, this card is a really expensive shady deal or cosplay, one that carries some serious risk. Speaking of risk, despite being called honorable combat, this combat doesn't have to be honorable. There are so many ways to cheat and get a VP, whether thematically or mechanically. Note the wording. Another player has to have more power than you, which is fine, you're losing on the base. But any of your minions there can duel any of that player's minions. This means that you could already have more power before the duel begins as long as your total power is less than the other player. As it turns out, the two are completely independent events. I could bring a King Rex to the duel where you have 8 power and I have 7, but I decide to duel your power 2 minion. I'm already up by 5, good luck winning that duel. This is completely allowed by the card and is an easy way to get a VP. You could even glimmer an opposing minion before the duel begins, and as long as the total power still exceeds yours, that is okay. But assuming you are losing in terms of minion power, this action can be used creatively. If there is a base where you are losing, but only by a little, the duel can be a means to try to overtake your opponent. The samurai have 2 actions that will help them with the duel. The first is Way of the Warrior, which is an excellent way to trigger a base closing. If you are within range, you can gain the 3 power to win the duel and hopefully the base, and you'll get an extra card as the base scores. But if the lead is too much and the base won't score this turn anyway, but you plan to win the duel, Code of Bushido can give you an extra power counter in addition to 2 other minions, which may not even be on the same base. I prefer Way of the Warrior because, when VP is on the line, it's extremely important that you win the duel, which is why I would prefer to cheat to ensure that it happens. Way of the Warrior is a nice boost at +3, but there are cards that offer more power, so even if you are tied, you aren't guaranteed to win. This is why it's noticeable that you can start the duel with an advantage. You should also know what your opponent is capable of doing at a maximum, so you know whether or not it's time for the duel to occur. There are several ways to cheat outside of starting off with a high-powered minion, and many of them are in service of winning the base at the same time. The samurai can cheat by having a minion with final haiku, perhaps on a completely separate base. When the duel begins, play yokai attack to destroy the final haiku minion, giving +2 power to all of your minions, including the challenger. You can play an extra minion on the dueling base, since yokai attack isn't localized, and the extra action can be Way of the Warrior. So you get +5 power, the only item mattering in the duel, and you also get another minion on the base, which can help close the lead. I consider this cheating because another minion is technically helping by literally falling on a sword. With the kitty cats, you can further pad your lead on the duel by playing Mr. Grumpers as your minion during the previous combo. This would reduce the dueling minion by 2 power, giving you more breathing room and still helping swing the base in your favor. But why bother risking it? As the challenger, your action resolves first, so you can play Cat's Paw to take control of the minion. The dueling rules specifically mention that a change in controller does not end the duel, whereas destruction does. So rather than destroying the minion, take control of it. You now control both minions, so it doesn't matter who wins the duel, because you are the controller in both outcomes, and you would get 1 VP, as well as a swing of up to 10 power from Cat's Paw. Beware, however, if your opponent sees this coming and plays Activate the Spy to take it back. In what is definitely not thematically honorable, poison is a great way to win the duel. Not only do you reduce a minion's power by 4, but you can also destroy actions that may have been buffing up the minion. Continuing our mashup of fighting styles, Expert Timing can be used to send all power counters from the Dragon Warrior to your dueling minion, as well as using its talent to siphon power counters from the minion you are dueling against. After the duel is resolved, Dragon Warrior can use its regular talent to send them all back, or send back just enough to still win the base. Giving in to the dark side can also produce an honorable victory, again, just not thematically. Yield to Rage can grant 2 power and an extra action, which can be used the 4s. It's tough to top 6 power from actions alone. For my final surprise way to win the duel, consider that a duel is a subtle way of playing an extra action. Playing extra actions means reducing your hand size, and the Haunting is a great target for honorable combat. Playing honorable combat lets you play another card from your hand, which can be Ghostly Arrival or Yokai Attack, or both, anything to give you more plays. You can play an extra minion to help you catch up on the base, and the extra action can provide more power to the Haunting. This can also get you at the right hand size to activate Haunting's boost, which gives 3 power and defensive abilities in case your opponent tries to decrease your own power. With a pre-existing Door to the Beyond, your new minion can provide at least 4 power, plus at least 5 power from the Haunting, as well as any other action played, such as Way of the Warrior for an additional 3. That's a gain of at least 12 to win the base and gain the VP as well. Note that playing Ghostly Arrival as the duel action has more benefit because it helps you stay under the power total in order to trigger the duel in the first place. Revisiting my original wording, I'm truly surprised that the precondition is about losing on a base, not losing to a particular minion. On the surface, there's nothing honorable about King Rex dueling Ghost Knight, but when a VP is on the line, as well as a chance for a catch-up mechanic, I'll take all the help I can get. I just would have envisioned the battered and broken samurai making an honorable last stand to take down the stronger foe and being rewarded for its efforts. Did you have the same thought I did about what honorable combat does? Which wording would you have preferred? Let me know in the comments. That's it for this week. We'll probably take a look at the Vikings next week. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's shut it down.